Porsche has made plenty of outstanding 911s over past decades. There's the R, the RS, the RSR even, but most of these cars' values have gone through the roof. However, for a fraction of the money you could pay for one of Porsche's limited number cars, you could have a classic 911 that offers all the necessary ingredients we associate with Zuffenhausen's famous flat six offerings. So why don't you join me, Roger Bailey, to find out if this 1981 Targa SC is just such a car. If you happen to be a classic Porsche person, I think you might be with me on this. If you're only into new Porsches, and I get that, well, I've something for you too, something you may just appreciate knowing. You see, we're going to find out where those cool new 911s get their DNA from. You know, what spawned that iconic design, why that flat six engine and why that layout. We may just appreciate the poignancy of the slow disappearance of these old sports cars and lament the diminishing opportunities to savour unique driving experiences, which includes that sound only an unrestricted, well-tuned boxer motor can make. So, happily today in this very car, we have a moment in time preserved. We have in our hands an example of manufacturing and styling lovingly produced 4 decades ago by Europe's most elite engineers. And it just so happens that this actual 911 Targa SC could be in your hands as it's for sale on Norman's Pond. Not heard of Norman's Pond yet? Well, it's a rather interesting car auction site and it's well worth a good look around. So I've put a link to it in the description below. And it just so happens that the SC, that's the Super Carrera, was the beginning of my life of longing to own a Porsche 911. See, my very first time behind the wheel of a Porsche was when I was an impressionable, long-haired 19-year-old who's by sheer good fortune got behind the wheel of a nearly new and at the time completely amazing 911 SC. And today this one is transporting me back in time. Back then, over 200 brake horsepower could warp time. Thrilling turning understeer followed by seemingly limitless rear traction was breathtaking. Back in the day, this was a supercar. And that was the day when the 911 infiltrated my mind forever. Modern Porsches are my choice of car these days, and feeling the old 911 DNA of this yellow Targa is an enlightenment. Big lumps of power and torque mean punching past slow traffic is effortless fun. The vivid steering feel shows up modern power steering for what it really is. Yeah, synthetic, floor-mounted pedals which hinge downwards feel pleasantly idiosyncratic. Brakes could do with a bit more feel and don't quite match the engine power that's served up, and clumsy use of the servo-assisted disc can potentially cause a front-end lockup. So too can clumsy gearbox use, making for missed changes until you acclimatise to that long stick shifter. All that said, our SC is properly nimble on the road. The petite dimensions really mean something. Without the girth and weight of a modern 992, we can flit and flick our pocket rocket around, tug that steering wheel, boot that right pedal, and we're piloting an angry wasp of a car. This shouldn't come as a surprise. I mean, let's not forget this was a fast and furious sports car back in the day, and one which still challenges and entertains in equal measure. So, if you are beginning to feel a desire to become a custodian of a historic motoring icon like this, and why wouldn't you, do your homework first to make sure it's the one you want. That famous option list Porsche dealers love to entice you with is not a new thing, and the 1980s SC customers face plenty of expensive temptation. Our yellow Wasp example was given this optional whale tail, chin spoiler, Bilstein dampers, Fuchs wheels and sport seats, and passenger side mirror. Yes, the mirror was an option, and why am I surprised? There's several coupes to be found out there, but the Targa is rarer and adds that extra layer of open-air pleasure. Just undo the clips, lift the roof off, fold it up gently and pop it away under the bonnet. Getting tempted yet? Well, this one's condition is fair for its age, drives nicely and is seemingly priced to sell. If you're going to search around the internet for one, get a check over by a Porsche specialist, as things like broken heat exchangers, clutches and exhaust can be expensive. Positives include bodies that are all zinc plated. We have strong engines which are 930 turbo motors less the turbo, and I guess most surviving example have all been well serviced and probably cosseted. But of course 40 years can have an effect, like cracks in that zinc plating, structural rust can occur, and poor restorations are to be looked out for. An engine that smokes, doesn't start or run evenly should be avoided, and if that gearbox is difficult to select, second or third gear, it probably needs a rebuild. That said, find one with a sound history and one that feels just right, and joy of joys, you'll have found yourself that usable, eye-catching classic car. A car for high days and holidays, for impromptu trips to the shops, and for those convivial car meeting days. And in my case, right here, today, it's my good fortune again to enjoy a delightful reacquaintance with a former hero, one that set me on my 40-year wanton course to experience the greatest driver's cars out there. Will I ever get to drive such an impressive SC again? Maybe, but as many were neglected, many have disappeared, that prospect is becoming increasingly less likely. However, what I've learned here today is that 911s from the 1980s can capture your heart. And rather than chasing after that ultra rare RSR, most of what you want is right here in a car like this, a Porsche 911 SC Targa in yellow.